like to answer the question number 1. Who are the main and supporting characters in the play? So the main characters in the play are Mrs. Popov, a young widow who is mourning her husband, and Smirnov, a landowner who comes to collect money her husband owed him. They argue a lot, but in the end, Smirnov falls in love with her. And then the supporting characters is Luka, Mrs. Popov's servant. He tries to calm things down and is very loyal to her.
Alright, I would like to answer the question number 2, and the question is, how do the characters reflect the social or emotional conflict of the stories? And the answer is, in the both stories by Anton Chekhov, lots of the characters show emotional and social problems in their action and words. For the example, Mrs. Popov is a widow. She is very sad and stay home all the time. She says she always loves her husband even though her husband is not kind to her. The story is show her emotional struggle with love and grief. She has isolated herself and refused to move on from her husband's death, even though her husband is treated her badly. And then her sadness and loyalty show the emotional conflict of loving someone who didn't love her in the same ways. While, on the other hand, Smirnov is angry because he needs more money and no one will help him. But emotionally, he is also dealing with his past with women. And then he claimed to hate them, but he quickly fell in love with Mrs. Popov. That story is show his inner conflict because he is angry and hurt, but he also wants to love and connection.
Here I want to answer about the question number 3. How does the character of Mrs. Popov evolve throughout the play? At the beginning of the story, Mrs. Popov is a sorrowful widow devoted to mourning her late husband. She is withdrawn from the world and determined never to love again. However, when Smirnov arrives, her demeanor shifts. She becomes spirited, proud, and also unafraid to speak what's on her mind. Their heated argument reveals her strength and passion. By the end of the story, she surprises herself by falling in love with Smirnov, showing that her grief has given way to renewed life and emotion. That's all about my answer. Thank you.
Alright, so now I will answering the question number 4, which is, what is Smirnov's role in the development of the plot and conflict? So, before Smirnov came into the story, the tone of the story is quiet, blue, and melancholy, portrayed by the feelings of the Mrs. Popov that has lost her husband. And then the tone itself, or the plot itself, just stagnant that is talking about the loss or the sadness of a woman who been loved by her husband. After Mr. Smirnov came into the narrative, he brings his emotions, his tough way of character, and giving the dynamic to the plot. His opinion with Mrs. Popov's opinion, giving the differences and the dynamic and creating the conflict between them later on. Mr. Smirnov also impacting the development of the plot by his appearance, bringing the conflict and the twist itself from the sad tone into more romantic and comedy ending of the story.
The last question, are the characters static or dynamic? Justify with evidence from the text. The answer, in the bar, Mrs. Popov and Smirnov are dynamic characters because they both change emotionally. At first, Mrs. Popov is a grieving widow who says, "My life is over." He lies in his grief, and I have buried myself within these 4 walls. But after arguing with Smirnov, she surprisingly falls in love and saying, "I hate you." This is, and kisses him. Smirnov also changes. At the start, he is rude and says, "Might the devil hang me upside down if there is anything to love about a woman." But later, he confesses and says, "I love you as I have never loved before. I beg for your hand." Their feelings shift from anger and sadness to love, proving they are dynamic characters.